there. Welcome back to the College Town Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Roth. Along with me is Derek DeBurger.
Hello.
Today, we are going to talk about everything college sports. Because what is back?
Football's back, baby.
College football is back. We have some games in week 0 that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Which games do you want to start off with?
Well, I want to start with a game that reminded me of something. It reminded me of how much I hate watching Notre Dame on NBC. Because it's just an infomercial. It's one of the worst experiences. I hate it so much.
I was not able to watch that game, so please tell me all about it and how awful it was to watch Notre Dame destroy Navy in Ireland 42-3.
Yeah. It wasn't very entertaining.
As a 42-3 game would be.
Well, just as a game, but also the entire time they're like, wow, Notre Dame invented football. Yeah, God came down, created South Bend, Indiana,
and all the Catholics
then threw
there.
an old slant pass for a touchdown, and that was the first ever national championship. Notre Dame.
I mean, I watched the highlights. Sam Hartman looked good. Sam Hartman looked pretty good. Granted, it was against the Navy, but he looked pretty good. I think he went like 19 for 23 or 19 for 22, 4 touchdowns, 300-something yards. He looked pretty good.
I mean, I didn't watch the whole game because it was an
infomercial.
Well, that and it just came a blowout pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like I turned on like North Alabama versus Mercer.
Oh.
Which was a better game.
Gotcha.
But from what I saw, it was like, yeah, he's good against Navy. He also, whenever Navy did blitz, he kind of panicked a little bit.
Really?
Not a big X's and O's guy. I'm not super.
Not sold.
I'm not the most intelligent. I'm just saying, like last year, teams figured out that they could blitz him, and then he would panic.
He didn't have the poise in the pocket.
Well, also he didn't have a pocket. The offensive line at Wake was terrible.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if he's still seeing Ghost or not.
Oh.
Just saying.
Bringing that up now.
I'm just saying.
All right. I kind of forgot about that.
What, the seeing Ghost?
Yeah, the seeing Ghost thing. I forgot about that.
Look, it's evergreen. You can talk about it whenever.
Fair enough. Yeah.
What did you watch?
I was able to watch bits and pieces of the USC game.
I couldn't watch that.
Really?
I don't have Pac-12 network.
Oh.
So I was like, I don't care.
Well, to sum it up short, Caleb Williams is still kind of that guy. They don't have an O-line, and they most definitely do not have a defense to defend in this Pac-12. And it's going to be eye-opening when they go to the Big Ten next year, and that O-line has to face Iowa and like Wisconsin, and forget Michigan or Penn State because that line was pretty rough. Their defensive coordinator, who Lincoln Riley brought over, Alex Grinch, he's not very good in my opinion. I
know a lot of people hate him.
Oh man, San Jose looked good. Like San Jose put up 28. On the number 6 team in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
The number 6 team in the nation should not be having 28 be put up against them. Against San Jose State. Like it was. Like there was a lot of good things to comment about. Caleb Williams looks good. That offense was firing, but the O-line and the defense are major question marks for me as they go and they're going to have to play. I mean, like the O-line won't be an issue against Washington because Washington's defense sucks too, but that could be a big shootout.
That'll be a fun game to watch.
Oh, Michael Penix Jr. is about to tear up that USC defense if there's anything I saw from week 0. Like that, Oregon, Utah, it's going to be rough for USC. That's my verdict on those 2 top-ranked teams in Notre Dame and USC. That was the only game I was able to kind of watch.
I watched a bunch.
Really?
Yeah. I watched Navy, Notre Dame, watched North Alabama, Mercer.
Yeah.
What else was on? I know I watched UMass, New Mexico State. Yeah. That was a pretty good game.
Really?
Yeah. It was very close, and then UMass just pulled away at the end, which is crazy because they haven't won a road game since 2018.
Really?
Yeah.
How about that?
First time in 5 years that they've won a road game.
All right then.
Their quarterback is a former Clemson recruit
Oh, really?
at quarterback. Yep.
How about that?
Yeah, it's Pumachan.
Pumachan.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Never would have thought that, but no, I mean he was incredibly athletic. He had a strong arm. UMass, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't watch. I was bouncing back and forth between that game and other games.
But yeah.
Depends on who they play. If they play a bunch of garbage teams, they might actually make a bowl game this year. Who knows?
Well,
Maybe I'm overreacting. I probably am.
it's Overreaction Monday, man. It's time to do it.
Yeah, but they went against New Mexico State. This is me rationalizing it.
Mhm.
They went against New Mexico State, who they made a bowl game last year. They won their bowl game last year. They finished 7-6, the elusive winning record. So that's a bowl team that they were playing at New Mexico State, and
So-
they ended up beating them by like 17-ish.
So it's within the cards. It's definitely possible.
Yeah, I know we got a bunch of UMass heads out there. Don't worry, I'm looking out for you.
There you go.
Hawaii Vanderbilt. That was pretty interesting.
It was a close game from what I saw. Didn't really get to see too much of it. So Vanderbilt won 35-28. Close game. Don't know too much about either of these teams.
Pretty sure Vanderbilt has their quarterback returning. Quarterback was pretty solid.
Really?
Actually, yeah,
There you
he was pretty solid last year. Vanderbilt lost their running back though, who was very good. He went to Kentucky. Ray Davis. He was really good. So it's going to be interesting to see if that offense is still any good,
It's gonna be
or
clicking.
if it's as good as it was last year. Not that they had like a lights out offense, they didn't, but
All right.
every little bit helps.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure they played Hawaii last year, and I think they killed Hawaii. So this is not either Hawaii got way better or Vanderbilt got way worse. I want to double check.
Or a bit of both.
It could. I want to double check though, because I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure that they played last year. Anything else you want to add?
No, not really. I wasn't able to watch too much football,
You working?
unfortunately.
Yeah. Vandy played Hawaii last year, beat them 63-10. 63-10 at
Wow.
Hawaii.
At Hawaii.
Yep. Now, last year was the first year of Hawaii's new head coach, but it was also the first year of Vandy's new head coach.
Right.
So maybe Hawaii's. You know who Hawaii's coach is?
No.
It's Tommy Chang.
What?
Tommy Chang?
Really?
Yeah,
How about that?
I know, right? I don't know. I'm rooting for the guy.
I'll see why not.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe his system takes longer to get a hold of. I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe he had.
you cut a
better players.
53-point deficit down to 7.
That's definite.
That's
For
a
sure movement on one of the sides.
That's
at
a
least.
start, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. That makes me kind of nervous about picking Vandy to go like 4-8 this year.
It's a rough SEC schedule they got.
It
is.
But I thought they were. I don't know. I had confidence in them.
They've been the punching bag of the SEC. It's tough to see when that's going to change. They have to prove to me that they're not going to be the little brother of that league for me to change my opinions and views on them.
They didn't. I mean, they lost a bunch of games last year in the SEC, but they fought at least.
Like competitive?
Yeah, they weren't blown out in every single game.
Right.
They were 5-7 last year.
Fair.
They had wins over Kentucky and Florida.
Do they play 9 in conference, or is it 8?
No, SEC plays 8.
8. So, I mean, 4 of those could have been out of conference, and then they only get 1 win SEC. You know what I mean?
They had 2 SEC wins last year. They beat Florida and Kentucky.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
What's the next topic for us?
We got a whole lot of USC news because we love our American Southwest. We love the Pacific Ocean.
Absolutely.
We love Hawaii. Wait, no. What did I talk about? I talked about UMass. I can't even remember my jokes. Not that it was good anyway.
All right.
So USC hired a new athletic director.
Poached it right away from Washington.
Yeah.
turns out that Jennifer Cohen, the new AD for the USC, is actually from the Los Angeles area. It's from a suburb in LA, basically.
Yeah, Arcadia,
yeah. She had some good hires at Washington. Kalen DeBoer, the football coach, great hire. I think that's a good hire. She also hired Mike Hopkins. Not that great of a hire.
He was really good at first, and then he's slowly gotten worse and worse.
I mean,
he's great at getting talent in.
I mean, he got Markelle Fultz.
He got Markelle Fultz. He got DeJounte Murray. He got guy who just transferred to Arkansas.
Oh,
Keon Minifield.
Yeah,
he's gotten some good players.
He's got some talent.
He
put it together.
Originally, it's interesting. Mike Hopkins was supposed to be the heir apparent to Jim Boeheim.
Interesting.
And then Boeheim just never retired. And then
he went to
was
Washington.
Like, all right, screw this, I'm going somewhere else. And then now he doesn't have the Syracuse job because he wasn't good enough at Washington.
Right. So back to Jennifer Cohen. She said that this was the only job she was going to leave Washington for. She wanted to go back home. Makes sense. Becomes the first female AD at USC in their history. I think that's kind of cool. Breaking some barriers in a top program of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. She has some good hires. She's had some bad hires. I think with the home connection, it could be good, could be bad, but hopefully she doesn't have to make any moves, Like, I'm trying to think, like, who is USC's head men's coach?
Andy Enfield.
Andy Enfield? Is he any good?
I think he's a good coach.
I
like Andy Enfield.
He's been able to bring some talent. I mean, Lincoln Riley's there. That hire's already been made and sealed.
They've got a good baseball program historically. I don't think the basketball team is worth a damn, but
right. Well,
the women's basketball team.
It's also hard to compete with a blue blood like UCLA right there.
And Stanford.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
But, so Kalen DeBoer seeming like a great hire. I didn't know she was there long enough to hire Mike Hopkins, but the person who was the athletic director at Washington before Cohen was, I think his last name is Bjorn.
Okay.
He's the athletic director at Texas A&M right now. He was the guy that was finally able to poach Chris Peterson from Boise State.
Right.
Yeah. And then when he left to go to Texas A&M, he was able to poach Jimbo from Florida State. So he's very good at like stealing other schools' coaches. He's very persuasive that way. And
he's at A&M right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now it will be interesting.
Depending on
this year.
Yeah, this year they might have to poach another coach.
Yeah.
But
Jimbo is definitely on the hot seat this year.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see how their season turns out. As well.
He's got the same record as Kevin Sumlin through their first however many seasons. I think it's 6 seasons.
Which is saying something and not saying something, because Sumlin also had Manziel,
Yeah.
So he had those good years, and then there was periods where it's like this team is mediocre, as mediocre can get.
I mean, and that's been the same thing with Jimbo.
Yep.
He's had 8-win seasons. He's had 9-win seasons.
And then last year was pretty bad.
5-7.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
In other USC news, this is the big one. Reggie Bush is suing the NCAA for defamation.
It comes off a comment that was made during a press conference last year with the NCAA when they were asking, the question was asked and posed about reinstating Reggie Bush, Heisman, and basically they said that we will not do anything that involves player payment. I'm paraphrasing here. I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but basically
pay-to-play stuff.
Pay-to-play, and Reggie Bush is suing saying that he never got paid to play. He's arguing that the school never paid to play him, that his agent paid him, and that school never did. So it's not necessarily that he didn't get paid. It's just the method of how he got paid for defamation. It is. He's also just. Reggie Bush might be the number one NCAA hater in the world right now. From when they redacted his Heisman Trophy to everything else, he really just wants that Heisman Trophy back. He wants to be recognized for the accolades that he did in college, rightfully so.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Yeah, he just got paid during a time where it was clear and obvious that he was getting paid and it was not allowed.
I mean, everyone's getting paid though.
But he's the martyr, if
I
you
know.
will.
Yeah, I know.
And he hates the NCAA, and he's going to fire a shot whenever he gets a chance at them.
Yeah, I mean, so he won the Heisman. He had the best year. He was incredible.
Without question.
He should not have gotten it taken away.
It was between like him and Vince Young.
It's like, who cares that he got $1 million home or whatever in San Diego? Like,
man's good.
Who cares? That didn't.
Well, it's
the $1
also
million home didn't affect his.
It's also like he paid
the running total
to rent the home. It wasn't like he owned the home. I don't
Yeah.
know exactly, but yeah.
But I mean, like, that didn't affect him on the field at all. Like
Could've made him
someone
better, sleeping in that king size mattress.
Yeah,
he's
someone
got.
didn't like run up to like tackle him when he was like California King, and then they like broke their ankles, and like that didn't affect him at all. Like he was that good because he was that good, and they shouldn't have taken it away. The NCAA has a history of winning virtually every lawsuit that comes their way. Recently, though, they have been getting it handed to them on a silver platter. So we'll see which one really reigns supreme here. Because defamation is really hard to prove. You not only have to prove that what someone is saying or writing or posing about you is wrong, you have to prove that it was knowingly wrong. You have to prove that they knew
it was wrong.
Yes, they knew that what they were saying was not based in reality. And that's a very difficult thing to do.
I don't think he's going to win this, but I also think that any chance he has an opportunity to go after the NCAA, he will.
Yeah.
And I say kudos to him.
More power to him.
Absolutely. For a show talking about college sports, we can't stand the NCAA, can we?
No, the NCAA sucks. I hate Mark Emmert. I hate Mark Emmert so much. I hate Charlie Baker now because he's trying to come in and be the sheriff, and it's like, no one likes you. No one likes you. Like, know your role, man. No, like, I hate him so much. God, I hate Charlie Baker. It took like no time at all for me to hate that man, but I do not like that man one bit. Let's talk about it. Arizona State just enacted a postseason ban for football this year.
Literally just got announced right before we started the show.
Oh, no, I got announced a couple days ago, I think.
It got announced
over this weekend.
Yeah.
But anyway,
besides the point.
They are enacting a postseason ban because there's an investigation going on about how they got Jalen Rashada. Jalen Rashada is the guy that was promised $16 million to go to Florida, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Florida. $16 million in NIL money to go to Florida. Obviously, the money was never there. So,
signed the NIL deal. Not the NIL deal. Signed the...
a letter of intent.
Letter of intent.
The LOI.
And then wanted to back out of it.
Yeah, got out of it, understandably, because he was promised $16 million that didn't exist. And then... he ended up going to Arizona State on a reported $400,000 NIL deal. Great. They're looking into that, whether it be tampering or trying to entice him to go there via NIL, which is technically illegal, but no one gets in trouble for it. They're going after them for that. Arizona State enacted a postseason ban for this football season, this upcoming season, which... I didn't think they were going to make the playoff. Or not the playoff. They're definitely not going to make the playoff. I didn't think they were going to make a bowl game anyway. I just don't think they're going to be good enough. I mean, they have a new coach this year and a new quarterback in Jalen Rashada. They could be very good, but it doesn't matter now because they're getting a postseason ban because they're trying to lessen the punishment that Charlie Baker's going to give them because he sees himself as like... Charlie Baker's the guy. Have you seen Grown Ups 2?
I have.
Yeah. You know the other cop that's not Shaq who like shoots his gun off in the air multiple times and is like, I am the law. That's who Charlie Baker thinks he is right now. That's who Charlie Baker thinks he is. And I hate this man. I hate him so much. I hate him. I dislike him. I don't know his record as governor of Massachusetts. I bet he sucked. I don't they're trying to lessen the punishment that they should not be getting or at the very least, they should be getting like a fine. Or at the very most, I mean, they should be getting a fine.
I forgot Herm Edwards got fired.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't that good there.
Yeah, he wasn't. Is he retired?
I mean, I would imagine so. I don't know who wants to hire him now. Flamed out in the NFL and college.
Yeah.
Right back to ESPN it is. It's a good job, you know. What are you going to do?
Well,
what are you going to do, cry for him?
I don't think
He's made his millions.
Yeah, ESPN's probably not hiring, if we're being honest, though.
No,
with the number of layoffs they've done.
Yeah, they can't afford too many people.
Well, they could afford Pat McAfee. That's why they laid off everybody else.
Well, no, that's not why.
It's part of the reason.
No, sure, but the reason this is not at all related to sports. The reason they fired everyone is because of Disney Plus.
What?
Disney Plus bleeds money.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, the more you know. So ESPN is the counterpart to that?
Yes, they're cutting. Disney had to. They didn't just fire people at ESPN. They fired people at Disney and every other place pretty much that they own.
Mm-hmm.
You know, ESPN just happened to get the chopping block because before, I guarantee you, before all the people on air got fired at ESPN, all the people that were not on air, like a ton of them got fired before.
Well, what do you call it? College Game Day changed. Kevin Pollard, is that his name? Is that how you say his name? I want to make sure I get
the
this
guy
right.
from Georgia. It's like David Pollock, right?
Is it? Yeah, David Pollock.
Yeah,
David Pollock is no longer Game Day.
Yeah, they fired. He was one of them that they laid off.
Yeah, and Pat McAfee took that role at the desk.
Well, he took
a lot
Lee
of
Corso's job.
Well, not yet though, but
yeah, because I don't think you can't fire Lee Corso. You're gonna have to let him retire in his own time. But like he's basically retired.
I mean, like I like Pat McAfee. I don't have too much of an issue with him.
No.
But as far as like game day goes, like David Pollock at least like said his opinion and gave his thoughts, and whether it went with or against the crowd at least. Pat McAfee seems to be a person that really likes Pat McAfee and really caters to the crowd and really gets them amped up and going, and he's just a people person in the moment. And not to say that's anything wrong with that, but it's also just like I would love to know his honest opinion about the football and like whether he agrees or disagrees with what's being said, rather than just being like San Diego State is the best college football team in the, just whatever the statement is.
Did he say that?
Well, he didn't. I'm paraphrasing here. He did not say that. But all I'm trying to get at is that I think that I like Pollock and I'm sad to see him go.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to see anyone fired, right. But they were making millions, so it's like it's hard to feel bad for him. It's hard to feel too bad for him. You don't. I mean, ultimately, it's not a good thing they got fired. Right. A lot of people are probably going to have to move. Their families are going to get uprooted. But with Pat McAfee, it's like he's a showman. He might
1,000%
might like himself. I think like, that's the role he plays.
I feel like he's better at like the WWE stuff he does. Like.
Yeah, I don't watch the WWE.
I don't watch it either, but it's like
I know that he does.
It's fake. It's scripted. I mean, it's not fake, but it's scripted. It's
fake.
I mean, people getting hit with a chair. They're getting hit with a chair. But that's
cool. It's fake.
Right. I can appreciate it a little bit. Now I don't watch it, but he's good at that stuff, in my opinion. Anyway, let's go to realignment.
Bum 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 bum.
So once again, back to realignment. Sum it up short. As we are recording this, there is going to be a vote later tonight for the ACC to see
Monday night.
Yep. And we record this midday Monday. Be interesting to see if California, Stanford, and SMU are going to join the ACC. We'll know shortly. Basically, SMU has come out and said that they're willing to not take any money from the media rights deal for at least 5 to 7 years.
They said 7 years now. They've upped it, yeah.
So they
just insane.
They really want to join. They got boosters and donors who are willing to support that program. California, Stanford is said to willing to take 30% of the deals. By them adding these three schools, roughly $72 million more will be divvied out to the other remaining 15 schools that are already in the conference. Is it 15?
I think it's 15. It's 15 with Notre Dame.
Yeah, 15.
Technical.
Yeah,
it's 14 in football, 15 with Notre Dame. Actually, it's 14 in baseball too, because Syracuse doesn't have a baseball team.
Interesting. So, and it's also this will, if they do end up joining, it will only be the football, men's basketball, and women's basketball, which I think is good overall. You have your three quote unquote money making sports that are going to have to travel out west and stuff, and it really doesn't put the burden on California, Stanford, or SMU for their programs to try and make those work with the travel and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
Plus,
that makes
also,
sense.
plus also it helps with ACC teams not having to travel out there constantly as well. Like having to go from Syracuse to Stanford or Cal, that's got to be a nightmare in itself. But I think overall it's good. We'll see what the vote happens. More money for the teams. If it does go through, there also will be more incentive-based money in the contract to help teams like Clemson and Florida State who have been pushing for performance-based incentives for on the field for football, where it will help in how they do if they make the college football playoff, if they make the
Make a bowl game.
as
NCAA
well,
tournament.
NCAA tournament as well. Those will be the three where it'll make them more competitive in terms of the money that they're getting from similar programs like the Big Ten and SEC money.
Yeah.
Sounds like a win-win all around.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to happen.
Yeah. I don't see why it wouldn't happen.
The biggest indication for me is that when this originally was floated a couple weeks ago, whenever it was, whenever the Pac-4 folded, Pac-2, whenever the Pac-2 was originally announced, North Carolina's women's soccer coach came out and said, he said something along the lines of like, no way are my girls going to fly to Berkeley to play a soccer game.
Right.
And come back. And then he recently released a statement, I think last week, like Stanford and Cal have great athletic programs. I may not approve everything that the school does, but they have the best interest in mind. And that just goes to show like, it's going to get approved.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be in the ACC, probably SMU as well. If they're taking no money for 7 years, they're probably going to be
It's a new
in the
market for
ACC.
no money, yeah.
I also heard that Stanford was going to take no money for a number of years as well. I think Cal is the only one that I've heard definitively is not going to take zero money to join the ACC.
Which I think is interesting to see because historically speaking, Stanford has better athletic programs than Cal, in my opinion, historically speaking. I mean, football was good back in the early 2010s. They had McCaffrey, they had Luck.
And back in the day, they had
Yeah.
John Elway.
Yeah, also, I'm more, personally, as a Louisville fan, I'm really excited to go watch when Stanford comes to town and plays Louisville in women's basketball.
Yeah.
That will be fun. That will be a lot of fun.
I think it's probably going to become the best, like definitively the best women's basketball conference with Louisville, Notre Dame, Duke is on the rise. They're going to have Stanford. Virginia Tech's good right now.
Florida State's usually traditionally good.
Yeah, Florida State's got some good teams.
Virginia Tech was a top team. NC State had a top team a few years back.
Yeah, North Carolina's a basketball
Notre
school.
Dame is a powerhouse.
Yeah, it's going to be a phenomenal women's basketball conference.
Don't get me wrong. Big Ten will be good too with Iowa right now. Ohio State's traditionally good. Indiana, so on and so forth. But yeah, it'll be exciting to watch. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's really I had not heard until just now that they're rumored to only join in football and then the two basketball.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting to me. I think that is probably the best thing for everybody because those are the revenue sports.
Yeah.
Those are the sports that if you join, it's going to add value. Every other sport is going to subtract value.
Right.
Because they're non-revenue sports. They don't make money. And because they don't make money, they don't have as big of travel budgets. So it makes a lot of sense.
It does beg the question of what happens to those other sports for Cal, Stanford, and SMU, and how they find play. And it does beg the question of like, where do those teams go to make up a schedule to have a season?
They'll probably join a conference in those sports.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I know the SEC doesn't have soccer. The SEC does not have soccer, but a lot of SEC schools have soccer teams. So a lot of them play in like Conference USA or the American or the Sun Belt or whoever for soccer, but they're SEC schools.
Interesting. Okay.
So that's probably what Stanford, Cal, and SMU are going to have to do.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really see them going independent in other sports just because the whole thing is about money.
Well, it's also just hard to like independently make a schedule. I mean, that's putting a lot of work on programs that probably don't have the resources because they don't generate enough money.
Yeah.
So,
you know what? I'm going to take it. I'm going to call my shot right now. This is going to get approved, and there's going to be one school that objects to it, that votes no.
Oh yeah,
It's going to be Florida State.
I don't know. Florida State might say yes to this because they're getting more money. Also, by voting yes to this, it's also going to be what they want in more competitive base income. I mean, basically, the teams that perform better in the big sports like football as being one of the main ones, with Florida State arguably having one of the best teams right now in the ACC.
Maybe in the country. We'll see.
Maybe.
Yeah, and also the ACC did approve a while ago a success-based revenue model, as far as like you'll get like bonuses and incentives for doing well,
right?
You know, making postseason
Right.
basketball and football. They approved that, but then I don't know if they had the money to do that.
Now
And so
it is.
this absolutely gives them the money.
Right. Also, what I learned is like, you know how we were ragging on NC State for why they were voting no?
Yes.
Turns out, after doing more research on this, it seems that North Carolina and NC State are kind of tied at the hip. Whatever one of them makes a decision on, the other one's going to agree to. It seems like they are very much in a tight relationship where they want to stay connected.
Are they? They're probably in like a like University of North Carolina system.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And I think it's very interesting that it seems like whatever those two schools are saying is what they're going to be agreeing upon. So it'll be fascinating to see what exactly happens with them, because I guarantee you if North Carolina votes no again, North Carolina State's going to be right there with them. But with the money coming in, I don't see why either school will vote no.
Yeah, that makes sense, actually. I didn't know that.
Right.
That also would make sense why NC State thinks that they're good when it comes to
They got North Carolina
realignment and everything.
They got North Carolina's back, and State's got
Yep. North Carolina State and UNC are both in the UNC system.
Yeah, so makes sense why they got each other's best interests out for each other.
Yeah, but at the same time, UCLA and Cal were both in the UC system.
Mm-hmm.
And UCLA went to Big
The
Ten.
Big Ten.
Looks like Cal's coming to the ACC. Originally, Cal, whenever it was announced that UCLA and USC were going to go to the Big Ten, Cal was trying to like hitch their wagon along with them, because they were like, whoa, you're part of the UC system, we're coming too. And they're like, no, you're not, man.
No, you're not, little brother.
So they had to work some deal out. I don't know the deal. But they had to work something out that allowed them to not be in the same conference. I think ultimately that would happen with NC State, because it's like,
Maybe, or maybe not.
who wants NC State though?
Maybe North Carolina still does. And North Carolina's pretty big.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, here we go. You want to do? You want to take a trip to your financial advisor's office?
Sure. Let's go to a
First.
trip down to my financial advisor.
Well. Sam, it's nice to see you.
Appreciate it, Derek.
Yeah.
I've come here looking for picks on teams that I
Yeah.
should buy for the next couple of weeks and invest in college football.
Yeah. You want to come rich? You want to be rich? Come see me. Come see me at DeBurger and Associates.
The Burger and Associates is
Yeah.
now open. Let's see what
DeBurger,
teams.
Grimace, and Associates.
Oh, Grimace is also there too.
Yep.
Let's see what teams
Well,
you're buying this week to start off college football.
for starters, let me tell you the rules that the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the NCAA They have laid out. This is very, very real. The
For
SEC
you as,
monitors
for
this.
you as an advisor,
For me as a fiduciary advisor.
buying these college football teams.
Yes. So, in your portfolio, in my portfolio, whatever, I get commission. So, it might as well be mine. We are not allowed to hold any teams that are currently in the AP Top 25. The college town playoff Top 25, that's okay. That's A-okay. AP Top 25, not okay. We're not going to delve into the A&P 25. You get that joke?
Nope.
You don't get that joke?
Dude.
The S&P 500?
I'm aware of that.
A&P 25?
Okay?
Okay.
Sorry.
That's a funny joke.
I bet it is.
You could have laughed. Anyway.
I'm sorry, man.
Look, we're going for the stocks, the schools that people are sleeping on. That's how we make our quick buck. All right? We go for penny stocks. We don't want any of this A&P 25 business. Another thing, when you buy a team, you got to have it for at least 2 weeks. You can't pump and dump. You got to buy and hold for at least 2 weeks. We're traders, but we're not day traders. We're week traders. Now, the no top 25 teams, that supersedes the holding 2 weeks. So if I buy a team and then it's next week it's in the top 25, I got to sell. I got to dump my position. Now, I've also got to have 6 teams that I'm holding at all times. I can only buy a team twice in one season. So I can't sell a team twice and then buy it for a third time. No. The SEC will be all over me. The IRS, the NCAA, throw all the letters my way. They will be auditing me left and right. Now,
just so we're clear, I'm the one who's going to be checking this to make sure you don't break the rules.
I'm not going to. Look, listen. I've watched so many Bernie Madoff documentaries. I know what to not do. I also know what to do, okay? Another thing. To incentivize the riskier picks for my client as a fiduciary, if a team is a 10-point favorite and loses, instead of dropping a point, I drop 2 points. If a team is a 10-point or more underdog and they win, then I get 2 points instead of getting 1 point. And also, once I sell, I've got to wait 2 weeks to buy again before selling. Again, no pump and dump. I can't just sell my losses and get back in so that the IRS doesn't have any clue what's happening. I got to be faithful. I got to be true. All the good, loyal, honest, sly. All the best fiduciaries are sly.
Anyway.
Time for the picks.
Yep.
For my first team, I'm going to buy the University of Louisville.
Shocker.
Well, no, I was torn on them.
They only have Georgia Tech and Murray State to start off the season.
Exactly.
So you're hoping for 2 give-me's here for 2 easy points.
I'm hoping, but the Georgia Tech game I don't think is a gimme.
It's a 7.5 point underdog favorites right now.
Great. Which, by the way, the underdog overdog thing that applies by the kickoff, not by the time I pick it. So if someone could get injured and then the lines change and I'm just screwed. I'm stuck in a position. There's no insider trading going on here. Okay.
It does kind of suck that you're picking these Monday and the games aren't for another 6 days.
Trust me, I know. Listen, the first 4 games for Louisville are Georgia Tech. I think that's a little bit of a toss-up. I think it's going to be a closer game than people are thinking. But then after that, we got Murray, we got Indiana, and we got Boston College, a freaking Jesuit school.
So you're holding for 4 games. 4 weeks is your...
Not guaranteed.
But you're thinking holding for 4.
I'm thinking in long terms here.
How many sales do you get per week? Can you just flip
I can flip everything.
You can flip everything,
yeah.
Huh? All right.
There's nothing in the SEC's bylaws that prevent me from doing this.
I wonder if you should only get like 1 sell a week or something like that,
No. As a
then
fiduciary, I couldn't possibly do that.
why couldn't you?
I have to have your best interest in mind.
It could also be like a fantasy and like a Premier League the way they do it. You get like one transfer in and out each week.
I don't.
And if you want to do more transfers, it'll cost you points.
We just said the rules. I don't want to confuse people. Listen.
I think that makes more sense.
It does, but don't. I've already made it up. The
You're gonna-
second school that I'm
You're gonna
picking.
dump everybody like a high school boyfriend after doing the deed. You douchebag.
No pump and dump. No pump and dump. Second school that I'm picking is the UTSA Roadrunners.
That's an interesting one.
Yep.
Because that game is just about even as on the spread right now.
Mm-hmm. Week 1 they play at Houston. Well, guess what? I don't care. I think Houston's trash this year. I'm saying it. Sorry.
I don't think Houston's trash. I just really like UTSA. I think Frank Harris is a damn good quarterback.
That's right. That's right. And they're not technically in the top 25, so guess who's picking them?
Guess who? If they win that game, they could be top 25. It's going to be
Cool.
a quick relationship you have there.
So they got Houston, Texas State, Army, and then Tennessee. So how long I hold them? We'll see. I don't know. My next school, I have WKU, the Hilltoppers. That's right. My not alma mater, because I didn't graduate from there. But, no, I was kicked out.
Anyway,
WKU, I think, is going to be one of the best, if not the best, group of 5 teams this season. They start off the year with South Florida. South Florida's garbage. Next, they play HBU. I don't even know what that is. There's no way they lose that game.
no way they lose to HBU.
And they play Ohio State.
A very unknown team in Ohio State.
Yep.
They don't even know who their quarterback is.
Exactly. How are you going to lose that game?
Yeah.
And then they play Troy. They're playing one guy. This is a football team versus a dude.
Yeah.
No, thank you. So give me the Hilltoppers. After that, I have the Maryland Terrapins, or Turtles, if you want to speak in layman's terms.
Interesting.
They have Charlotte to open the season. Then they have Virginia, who is terrible. Then they have Michigan State and Indiana.
I feel like this is going to be very beneficial for you at the start of the season.
Oh, it's incredibly easy to start.
And then once we get into these conference games, it'll be interesting to see who you pick. Not top 25 teams.
Well, I graduated top of my class at fiduciary school.
There you
So,
go.
yep, not WKU. I was near the bottom of the class, actually. But at fiduciary school, I was top of the class.
All right.
So that's right. That's, if you're keeping track, that's 4 teams right now, and that 4th team is Maryland,
There you go.
just outside of D.C. The swamp's not getting drained today. Next school I've got the Minnesota Golden Gophers. They play Nebraska to start the season. That's a dub. Then they play Eastern Michigan.
You're gonna have a lot of sell. Let me tell you, once these teams meet week 3, we might see a whole new rotation. It's looking like
We easily could.
I'm looking at
Because
this.
week 3 they play at North Carolina. And then they play at Northwestern.
Oh, this is gonna be interesting.
We'll see. We'll see if I sell. I don't know. I'm great at what I do. Buy and hold, okay? I was trained by
Oh,
my 2 mentors are John Madden and the Oracle from Omaha, Warren Buffett himself. He trained me personally
you're really banking on this 12-0 start.
at
aren't you?
fiduciary school. So number 5 is the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Going for the gold with that one.
Absolutely.
And then finally, we've got a reluctant pick, but, what are you going to do? I've got the Kentucky Wildcats.
Well, they're only 30-point favorites on their first game.
Per usual, they start their season with absolutely nobody because Mitch Barnhart is afraid to schedule anybody. They play Ball State, followed by Eastern Kentucky, who they're supposed to be a good FCS school this year, but guess what? FCS. And then they play Akron and Vanderbilt.
3 games.
Do I have to say any more?
First 3 games were they're paying a check to play these games.
Exactly. When your school's paying money to play, I'm paying money to get them. I didn't think about that before I said it, but I'm buying up those schools. That's what I'm doing.
If they're paying money to play a team, you're going to buy that school because odds are they're trouncing that team to get one win on the record books.
I think they got that, but yeah. Exactly.
Unless you're
Texas A&M.
or Michigan back in the day when they got that blocked field goal.
Both of them. Both paid App State a ton of money to lose to them.
Yep. Shout out App State.
Anyway,
Found a way to get that bag.
for those of you keeping
And
track,
that dub.
my portfolio consists of, I don't know if it's my portfolio or yours. I've been losing track. Our portfolio,
Listen, don't put me in this. This is your
My portfolio.
This is all you, man.
Sam's portfolio consists of
I do.
Louisville, UTSA, Western Kentucky University, Maryland, Minnesota, and Kentucky. That's a good 6-0 right there. Give me 12-0.
You hope for 12-0.
What? Do you smell that?
What does that smell?
It smells like money.
Smells like
It
success.
smells like success. So thank you. I'll see you next time
Absolutely.
with your regularly scheduled financial advisor appointment. Because screw seeing them once a year or once a quarter. See me every week. That's what all the best financial advisors do. They tweak your portfolio every single week.
To rescue portfolio.
And I learned that at fiduciary school. Thanks, Warren Buffett.
All right.
I really want to get one of those like green hats. You know, like those green visors that people wear. You know what I'm talking about?
Do you know what you're
Yeah.
talking about?
I would really sell this.
You had fun with that one, didn't you?
That was a lot of fun, yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right, next we're gonna. You want to do the season predictions?
Okay, sure.
Let's
yeah.
save the pick 'em for the end.
Sure. Season predictions. We have some season predictions at our hand. We are going to try and predict the 4 teams that are in the college football playoff, as well as who our Heisman Trophy winner is.
Yes.
And to finish it off, any hot takes you got or bold predictions.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll let you go first.
All right.
Who are your 4 teams in the college football playoff?
My 4 teams in the playoff, in order, are Alabama, Michigan, Florida State, and Georgia.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. I've got Michigan beating Florida State and Georgia beating Alabama.
Oh, you did. Who's going to win it all?
I mean, I did it just because.
I just picked who's in the playoff.
That's understandable. But, I think Michigan's going to win it all. I think Michigan's going to beat Georgia in the national championship.
Interesting.
I'm pretty high on Michigan this year.
Yeah. I could totally see Michigan winning it all.
Got an incredible roster.
Yeah.
After the first 3 games, they've got an incredible coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
I think
We talked about it for like a month and I forgot about it.
very high on Michigan.
Yep.
Who you got?
All right. My 1 seed, Michigan. By no surprise. I think we're pretty close there. My 2 seed is Texas. My 3 seed is Florida State. And my 4 seed is Tennessee.
Oh my God.
That's what I got. I got a lot of orange in there, which a lot of people don't. I think Michigan and Florida State are not hot takes, but I got Texas and Tennessee with teams like USC just missing out, Utah just missing out, and Ohio State, Georgia, and Alabama.
Okay. Do you have picks for who you think's going to win those matchups in your mind?
Michigan versus Tennessee is the tough one because I feel like that's my 1 and my 4, and the only reason why I have it is because I have Michigan, Florida State, and Texas going undefeated. So those are my 3 undefeated teams on the year, and then Tennessee's only loss will be to Alabama, but they beat Georgia to get there, and then they beat Alabama in the SEC championship, in my opinion. So 1 loss Tennessee is a 4 seed to the 3 undefeated teams, and personally, I like Tennessee a lot. I like Michigan a lot. I think that one's going to be a tough matchup, and I can't pick between the 2.
Okay.
And then Texas, Florida State, I'm going to go with Florida State.
Okay. So it's Florida State versus nobody.
Versus Michigan, probably.
So you think Michigan's going to beat Tennessee?
Probably Michigan, because Tennessee is one of the hardest schedules this year. And if it wasn't for their schedule, I'd be even more high on them. But it's a gauntlet in the SEC. They have to get through. Whereas compared to Georgia, they don't really play anybody till Tennessee. So I'm really banking on Tennessee to beat Georgia in that game to make it after the onslaught that they have to get through. I don't know. Sticking to my guns of liking Tennessee, I'm going to pick Tennessee to make it to the college football playoffs out of the SEC.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't agree with two of the teams, obviously, but at the same time, I do have Michigan and Florida State.
Orange is the new black, man. I'm telling you, okay? Orange is in.
I like orange. It's a good color. I think Tennessee's going to take a step back. I think Texas is not quite there yet.
I can understand that. Now, I don't think I have Texas going undefeated, but I would not be surprised if they go 9-3 either.
All four of my teams that I have making the playoff, Alabama, Michigan, Florida State, and Georgia, I've got them all going undefeated through the regular season.
Oh.
So I've got conference championship week.
So Alabama beats Georgia, but Georgia still makes it because their one loss is to the 1 seed in your opinion.
Yes. And then Georgia, I've got turning right around and beating Alabama.
See, I think it's people are asking, where's USC? Why aren't they in there? I think Pac-12 this year is just going to beat the crap out of each other.
That's what I was thinking.
That's the rough part for me is that USC, Oregon, Washington, Utah, those 4 teams right there are all good enough, in my opinion, very good schools, to where if one of them rises to the top in the Pac-12, we'll make the playoff. But I just don't see it on how these teams can go into other teams' stadiums and find a way to win because those teams are just so good. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I was kind of torn between Georgia and USC, and I was like, realistically in the scenario, they'd probably give the nod to Georgia, and I'm very glad now. I made these picks before week 0 started.
Oh.
And I'm very glad now because apparently you said USC, their defense didn't really improve that much.
It didn't
and
look that great.
It looks like their O-line probably took a step back.
Oh, yeah,
That's
definitely. I mean,
not good.
That's
like 2017 Lamar Jackson, Louisville,
right,
where he was just carrying that team.
It'll be fun to watch. Don't get me wrong, Caleb Williams played great against San Jose State. There's just a lot of question marks there still. After playing against a team that's probably borderline bowl game-ish in San Jose State, and they put up 28 against them. Who knows? We could be wrong, and San Jose State might be a really good team.
They'll probably. I think they're going to go. I don't think they're a borderline bowl team. I think they're going to go to a bowl game. They've had 20-something wins over the last 3 or 4 seasons. They've been a consistently good team for a little while now. It's not good enough to. You still shouldn't be good enough to hang 28 in the season opener against a top 10 team.
Well, not even that. A team that's probably projected to win their conference, and if the way they're projected, should make the playoff.
Yeah, they're definitely one of the favorites.
Right, exactly. And I don't know. Also, it's just so boring. Last year, 2 non-ranked teams at the start of the season made the playoff. Year before that, there was another unranked team that made it. I mean, TCU wasn't ranked last year, and Cincinnati the year before wasn't. Who was the other not ranked team?
Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan. It was Michigan and TCU made it, both not ranked.
Was Michigan not ranked to start last year or 2 years ago?
Let me double check.
I feel like it was 2 years ago.
I have it in my notes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fun to pick the Texases and the Tennessees, or a dark horse that someone's really confident about, like a South Carolina.
So it was TCU last year was not ranked, and then 2 years ago it was Michigan and Cincinnati were not ranked. So I mean, last 2 years there's been 2 not ranked teams that made it, and neither of us
has been 3.
Yeah, 3 out of the 8 were not ranked, and I mean. every year before that, they've been ranked preseason.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, like, there's at least one team that's, like, top 15, top 20 that can make it.
I do. I
So
definitely
I just
agree with
picked
you there.
2, and I'm hedging my bets on those being the 2.
Every single year, there has been a team outside of the top 10 that has made the playoff.
No.
I'm pretty sure that has, right?
No. I got it all right here for you.
What? Is
Yeah.
this their preseason rankings?
Yep. That's the AP preseason rankings right here.
Okay, so in 2014,
It was,
4 out of the top 5 preseason ranked teams made the playoff.
yeah.
And then
But
2019, they were all in the top 10. 2020, they were top 10.
But outside of that, there's been at least one team outside the top 10 that's made it.
Mm-hmm.
If not 2 for a couple of them in 2021 and 2015. So, call me crazy, but it's happened
it's not.
and it can happen again.
You're right. I just don't. Texas is like of the 2 teams that you picked between Tennessee and Texas. Texas is the team that I have more faith in, honestly.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I just think they have a ton of talent. They've got a good, creative coach in Steve Sarkisian. And I think Tennessee's going to take a step back. I really do. Texas has an easier schedule than Tennessee.
All right.
So,
Heisman winners.
yeah.
Who is your Heisman winner for the 2023 college football season?
So I was really, really torn between 2 guys, and I just went with one of them over the other because one of them is a quarterback and the other is not. My pick for the Heisman is Jordan Travis.
Jordan Travis.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Florida State quarterback.
Who's your other option?
Blake Corum of Michigan.
Really?
Yeah, I think Blake Corum's going to have a fantastic year. It's just that he's a running back,
Really?
and they really like to give it to quarterbacks.
You know what's interesting is that I was doing the research for this, and I wrote down 11 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I had narrowed down to one guy, and I still can't do it. It's very hard. But the one non-quarterback player I had that could possibly do it, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, I could see that.
That is the one wide receiver that I had, one outside quarterback that I had. So I was doing the research on this, and since 1976, only one player has repeated the Heisman,
Yeah, Archie Griffin.
Archie Griffin. So I'm eliminating Caleb Williams right there. What's so funny?
You said Archie Griffin.
Sorry.
It's okay.
So I eliminated him right there. There's also other guys there who I think are really talented and very good, but the teams aren't going to be good enough for who they play on because you have to have winning football to play on.
Yeah.
So my ranked 3rd player and 5th player, which these 2 guys I don't feel like are talking enough. We already mentioned one of them. Frank Harris of UTSA I think is a really good quarterback. I just don't think he's on the team to be able to win the Heisman. The one that is 5th that made some noise last year, people forgot about it because he got hurt, is Jalen Daniels of Kansas.
He was very good.
He was very good, got hurt, and came back, and they lost their last 3 games with him against Kansas State, Texas, and then they lost the Liberty Bowl against Arkansas in a triple overtime with KJ Jefferson.
Yes.
But came back in that game, scored 2 touchdowns and under a minute left in the game to put it to overtime. It's a very good player.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I just don't think Kansas has a good enough team to do that. So eliminates those 2 guys. And then the other 2 I have right there is Bo Nix of Oregon and Drake May of UNC. Drake May is a front runner, obviously, I think, just because of his draft prospects, pedigree, and stuff. Bo Nix is a quarterback that has been doing it since his true freshman days back in Auburn. And I also think part of me is like, there's like Jordan Travis and like Michael Penix Jr. They don't really have the running ability that Bo Nix has or Drake May has that I feel like is required to win the Heisman nowadays. In a way, I feel like every quarterback within the last 5 to 6 years that has won the Heisman has been somewhat of a mobile-ish quarterback.
Well, Joe Burrow only had like 400-something yards.
Yeah, but he also led the team to a national championship. I do think that is a caveat to that.
Okay.
But, I mean, like, it is interesting. Like, the other players I have on there were Cam Rising of Utah, Jane Daniels of LSU, and then 10th for me, last place, was Sam Hartman of Notre Dame. But if I had to pick one, I'm going with Bo Nix of Oregon to do it this year, with my wild card being Jalen Daniels of Kansas.
That is definitely a wild card.
He's not even, like, really projected on the on the odds
Yeah,
at all.
he's basically like the field odds type of thing, you know.
But I think it's, gosh, he's such a good player.
He's very good. Bo Nix could win it. I am very excited to see what Oregon does with Will Stein as their offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He's playing his 5th year of college.
Yeah.
You know?
Starter for all of it for the most part.
Yeah. I think that's a solid pick, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm picking the Heisman is like such a crapshoot.
It is.
It's because like historically, whoever wins the Heisman is whoever is. It's someone who's not expected preseason to win the Heisman. It's people. Right. It's someone that comes out of nowhere. But then recently, it's been a lot of people who have gotten preseason hype.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah, and like
there was Caleb Williams last year.
Devonta Smith.
Devonta Smith 2020.
He won it.
Kyler Murray was way back.
Kyler Murray had hype. Baker Mayfield had hype.
Lamar
is like one of the last people to win the Heisman that really kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like there were like if you were like in the know, you kind of had a little bit of preseason expectations for Lamar, but even then, like you didn't.
I mean, it was Caleb Williams 2022, Bryce Young 2021. Devontae Smith 2020, Joe Burrow 2019.
Joe Burrow, you could say, came out of nowhere a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit too, yeah. Kyler Murray 2018, Baker Mayfield 2017, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston. That's as far back as I want to go because that's as far back as the playoffs came out since 2013.
Yeah, I think Jameis Winston actually is the year before the playoff.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, did play in the playoff, though.
Yeah, played Marcus Mariota. They got blown out.
Yeah.
I was at
that was the old meme where he got blown on and, like, fumbled the ball.
I
at the
remember
midfield.
that.
Yeah.
That was back when I had a Twitter.
Yeah.
I was at Troll Under the Bridge pub.
Gotcha.
When that game was on.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that, and I was like, wow, this is a terrible game.
Welcome to your college football playoff.
Yeah, but...
All right. Any bold predictions, hot takes for you?
Well, yes, I've got some. I have obviously, I didn't pick him to win the Heisman. Actually, I want to say 2 more things about the Heisman. One is this. I didn't pick this person to win the Heisman, but I think this, depending on the season that they have, I think could be a sleeper that no one's talking about, or most people aren't talking about, and that's Taulia Tagovailoa.
Maryland.
Yeah, I think he's very good. He's a very good college quarterback. I think it's last year of college. The team around Maryland has started to build over the years. The team has gotten better along with Tagovailoa getting better. And I like their coach, too. I think he's a pretty solid coach. So, potentially this could be the year where not only Maryland takes a huge step forward, but Taulia takes a huge step forward as well. But the other thing is about, like, for anyone saying that Caleb Williams could win the Heisman again, no one will ever win the Heisman again.
Back to back.
No one will ever win multiple Heismans.
Voters' bias.
Ever again. No one will ever do it.
You don't think ever?
Never. Because it's a story thing. It's a story thing. One of the biggest reasons people vote for the Heisman is the story. Everyone talks about a Heisman moment. You got to have a Heisman moment. If people are going off of stats accompanied with a winning record, Randy Moss would be a Heisman winner. And not who won it for Michigan that year? Cornerback. Charles Woodson. Yeah. Charles Woodson would not be a Heisman winner. Randy Moss would. But they gave it to Woodson because he was a defensive player. It was a big thing. It was the story.
Right.
In 2017, if you're going off of stats, Lamar should have won back-to-back. Baker Mayfield won it because it was his time. It was, he was up. He had a great year. Numbers-wise, Lamar had a better year. He had a better year than the year before. He was great. Jameis Winston was really good. He wasn't better than Mariota that year. I'm not even going to say that. Mariota was incredible that year. But it's not just about stats. It's not like an MVP award. Shoot. I hope that's not... My phone went off. I hope no one can hear that. Anyway, what I was saying is no one will ever repeat as a Heisman winner ever again. It happened with Archie Griffin. The story's over. No one wants anyone to repeat as the Heisman winner.
It's coming up in 3 years. It'll be 50 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no one is ever going to do it again.
We'll see. All right.
Yeah, let's do bold predictions. You got any?
I think I've already said my piece about Tennessee making the playoffs. I think that's
Sure
bold
have.
enough
That's
right
incredibly bold.
there. I think that's my hot take. I like Tennessee. I've been saying it for the past 3 weeks. And I'm going to keep saying it, and they're going to go 7-5. But, hey, I believed
They'll
in
go
you.
9-3.
I believed in them, but, hey, it is what it is. They got a veteran defense. I feel like they got good quarterback play in Jalen Hyatt, who's going to take over Hendon Hooker's spot.
No. Jalen Hyatt was their wide receiver
No,
last
what
year.
am I talking about?
Joe Milton's their quarterback.
Joe Milton.
Yeah,
Golly.
he's got a cannon for an arm.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
What am I talking about here? But yeah. Like the team, like see where they go. Change it up. Forget this whole Alabama, Georgia running the SEC and East and West. You know what? Let's make it interesting. Let's have Tennessee on one side. Let's have LSU on another side. Let's make a new SEC championship game out of it. Let's have some fun with it.
I mean, that'd be definitely more fun. I'm not
Absolutely.
going to deny that at all, actually. But I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I'll give you a prediction. I don't know how bold a prediction is, but the Pac-12 is going to be in its last year
It's gonna be really
as a
good
conference.
football.
It's going to be the best conference.
It's gonna be really
It's going
good
to
football.
be the best conference. It's going to have 5 teams that are really good, and then
USC.
that middle is
US
still going to be kind of solid, and then the
So
bottom's going to suck.
who's your 5th team?
Oregon State.
Interesting.
Oregon State's going to be good.
I can see that. I could totally see that. That would be my borderline 5th team, but I do think the 4 teams in front of them
Yeah.
are better.
And
than
then potentially UCLA, depends on how good Dante Moore is, but UCLA could be very good too.
Is he a true freshman or no?
Yep.
He's starting as a true freshman?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
You got another hot take, bold take, or no?
My team's in orange.
Well,
I think
well,
Texas.
you know what? Let's go for another team in orange. Clemson's offense is that's going to be back.
Really?
I think Clemson's going to have a great offense this year.
They
a
have
couple of great defense.
They have Cabe Klein is their
Cade Klubnik.
Cade Klubnik.
Yeah. But more importantly to me about Clemson's offense, they have Garrett Riley as their offensive coordinator. He's the offensive coordinator at TCU last year. They came out of nowhere to make the playoff. Obviously, the brother of Lincoln Riley. I think he's going to completely revamp this offense. He's probably going to be there 1 year, and someone's going to hire him as a head coach.
He's going to Texas A&M next year.
You know, he just might.
That's funny.
But I think Clemson is going to have a great offense.
But not good enough to beat Florida State, apparently, according to your predictions.
I think Florida State's good.
There you go. You've really high on Florida State. College football, Heisman.
And the playoff, yeah, I think Florida State's going to be really good this year.
There you go.
I had another bold prediction that was, it's not the best one. I just said no one is going to be back. And when I said no one is going to be back, I'm talking about Texas and Miami.
So we're both kind of arguing each other. You
Yeah.
see?
I just think Texas is probably going to, their ceiling is probably like 10-2. Which 10-2, yeah, that's probably back. I'm not gonna lie. That's them being really good.
I mean, they got the really hard game against Alabama at Alabama to start.
Yeah, like 2 weeks into the season.
2 weeks into
they
the
gotta play
season.
at Alabama.
They're like at Baylor, which will be a tough game. They've got Kansas State, TCU. Yeah, Big 12 is a gauntlet.
They got to play Oklahoma. We'll see how Oklahoma is this year.
Yeah. Unranked Oklahoma, who's out to try and prove something after having a very poor
Yeah.
6-6 season.
Yeah,
Were they 5-7 or 6-6? I think they made a bowl.
I think they were 6-6 and lost their bowl game.
Right. It'll be interesting to see though because, yeah.
Yeah, and then Miami's not back yet, people. It's not
I'm
going
not-
to happen.
Yeah, I think we can agree on that
Yeah.
one. Not too high on Miami.
Miami fired a coach after going 7-5, and then immediately they went 5-7.
Yeah.
They got worse.
Turn
I just
out
don't
right.
think Miami's back yet.
Fair enough.
All right, you want to do picks? We're going to do picks.
Yep. So every week we're going to basically pick 9 to 10 games, somewhere around there.
Yeah. 10
Each
games,
week.
give or take.
Yeah. On who we think are going to win. The games this week are, well, we'll just go off of them and then pick. So
Yeah, and then I think if it sounds like a good idea, we're gonna do some sort of poll on YouTube, so you can pick, so you'll compete directly against us.
yeah, see how we do. Absolutely.
Because we can do that.
Yeah, we can do polls. All right.
First game, Florida at Utah. Who you got?
Like Cam Rising, like Utah.
Yeah, I got Utah as well. Second game, Louisville versus Georgia Tech. It's going to be in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Technically a neutral site game, even though Georgia Tech is in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I've got Louisville in this one. I bought them.
Yeah,
I
you
bought
did.
them. I don't think it's going to be...
Is this a heart over your head pick, or is it?
No, it's just I think that
Jake Plummer?
I just think I like what Brahm's done. He's brought in a lot of guys. He's a great coach. He does actually have a record. His record in September as a football coach is 11-10. That is a bad record.
It's a very
That's
bad
a bad record in a month. But he's played a lot of good teams. Back in his days at WKU, he would
They would take that check.
Yeah, they would take that check. They went into Alabama, kept it close for a quarter, and then got absolutely curb stomped for the other three. So that games like that's going to kind of skew your record. But at the same time, he's dropped a lot of games that they've won when they should have won. They ended up losing games. Like last year with Purdue, they had Penn State beat, and they blew it.
Right.
So because of that and the consistency with, yes, technically this is his first full year as Georgia Tech's coach, I can't remember his name. Georgia Tech's coach, it's his first full year as the head coach. So, but he was the interim last year. They gave him the official title. There's going to be some consistency there. I just don't think it's enough consistency with losing Jeff Sims. Brent Key is his name. I don't think there's going to be enough consistency with losing their quarterback to come out on top. So I've got Louisville. I spoke for a long time.
It's a heart pick for me. Louisville's going to start off with a win. Love my team. We're going to pick Louisville here.
All right.
He took all the time on that one. I had to cut it short.
Next, we got Fresno State at Purdue.
Yep. You want me to go first?
Sure.
I'm having fun with this one. I'm picking Fresno State. Mount West champs last year went into Boise State, won that game. I don't see why they can't beat a team that just lost their head coach, coming off of losing some players too as well. Not to say Purdue isn't going to be down this year, but I think Fresno State's coming off a good season. I hope for them to continue it.
This is the first time we disagree. I'm picking Purdue just because I think they're going to get a whole lot tougher than they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
They are bringing in Illinois' defensive coordinator as their head coach.
Mm-hmm.
They still have Maccabee, the running back. They're going to ground and pound, I think. I think they're going to really make that game ugly. It's not going to be the Purdue of the last 6 years or however long it's been with Jeff Brom as their coach.
I think it's interesting because right now it's I want to say it's a 4-point spread on that game as we start the beginning of the week going into that game on Saturday. And I just think Fresno State has done a good job last year, and I want them to continue it. It's nothing against Purdue. I mean, Purdue did lose their head coach and everything.
Yeah, no, and they lost their quarterback. And a lot of players on defense. They lost them to the transfer portal. I get it. I get the pick. There's a reason they're on here.
I think it's a fun pick. I think Fresno State can go in there and win.
I don't disagree with you at all.
Right? Well, you do a little bit.
I mean, about the possibility.
Right.
Next, we got Colorado at TCU.
Sorry, Dion. TCU's winning this one.
Yeah, I got TCU. I
just don't see where Colorado's going to be good this year.
Yeah, I mean, they brought in a ton of players in the transfer portal.
Right.
Even if they've got a lot of talent, it's got to gel.
Yeah.
If it's everyone starting from scratch. Teams can come in nowadays and bring in virtually an entire new team, but it's not really an entirely new team. You just bring in and fill key positions where you need them.
Right.
Even how many key positions that is, you can do a lot still. But if you're bringing in 80-something new guys,
right,
that is literally starting from scratch.
It is.
So I got TCU. Next we got UTSA at Houston. I got UTSA.
Love me some Frank Harris. Zakaria Franklin is gone, one of their top wide receivers, but I think they still are a good football team. And they got a really good quarterback. I'm high on Frank Harris. I have him ranked third in my Heisman. I mean, I don't see why this guy can't carry the team pretty far.
Yeah. Normally, those the group of five quarterbacks that have just been there forever and then they just win while they're there. Normally it's for good reason. It's because the quarterback is oftentimes the one carrying them. Frank Harris has been there forever. They've won ever since he's been there. I think they're going to continue to win.
It's a good player.
Next, we got North Carolina versus South Carolina. It is in the Carolina Panthers Stadium in Charlotte. Who you got?
So this one's hard for me. I think this is a coin flip.
I do too.
This is a straight coin flip for me. I had South Carolina, crossed it out, wrote UNC, because I think North Carolina has a better quarterback right now. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Spencer Rattler is a decent quarterback, but I don't think he's at the tier of Drake May. And I don't see why Drake May can't continue what he started already. And I'm going North Carolina also because of the ACC connection to Louisville.
Yeah.
A little bit of a heart pick there.
I don't know. I originally picked North Carolina, but I'm in the moment I'm going to switch it to South Carolina.
So we got two different picks right now.
Yeah, I'm going to take South Carolina in this.
It is a coin flip. I could see both teams winning. Yeah. I want to watch this game badly.
I think the difference is probably going to be the defense.
Yeah.
North Carolina started the year last year. Their defense was atrocious, and then it slowly got better throughout the course of the year. That's something people don't talk about, is that it did get better, but the problem is they lost their best players on defense. They lost their top players on defense. So I think it's going to go right back to where it was, and I think South Carolina was building at the end of last year. South Carolina ended last year very strong. I think Shane Beamer is a good coach, whether you find him annoying or not. He's a great coach. I'm not going to say great. I'm not going to go that far yet. But he's a good coach, and he proved that he can win against top opponents. He can get upsets.
Yep.
So I'm going South Carolina. Next, we got West Virginia, Penn State. I got Penn State.
You know my feelings about West Virginia.
Yeah, West Virginia does suck.
West Virginia could be the number one team in the nation. I would never pick them. I can't stand that fan base.
They might be on here a lot if you're never going to pick them.
Yeah, well, Penn State. Yeah. All day. Happy Valley.
All right. Next, we've got a fun one. We've got Incarnate World versus UTEP. UTEP played week 0. That's another game. I forgot. UTEP played week 0. They played against Jacksonville State.
Lost by 3?
Lost by 3. It was Jacksonville State's first ever game as an FBS school.
They came out and they won that game.
Mm-hmm. Who you got?
Never heard of Incarnate World. Going UTEP. Sorry, Incarnate World.
I'm picking Incarnate World in this one.
Ooh, why is that?
Incarnate World had a little bit of a Cinderella run last year in the playoffs. They made the semifinals. And I think UTEP sucks.
No,
so
fair enough.
I think Incarnate World was better than Jacksonville State.
Ooh.
And Jacksonville State just happens to be
UTEP
in the FBS now, and Incarnate World is still in the FCS. So I've got Incarnate World in this one. Finally, the big one, the big matchup.
The game of the week.
LSU versus Florida State.
I have Florida State making the playoffs, right?
Yeah. You said you have them undefeated.
I know.
So is this really are you thinking about this?
I am. Because I think LSU is a good team with a good quarterback. Like, to give you an idea for, like, my Heisman rankings, Jordan Travis is 8. Jaden Daniels is 9. Like, that's how close I have these two. I think it just comes down to who has the better defense, in my opinion.
LSU has a D lineman suspended for that game.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to stick to my gut. I wanted to be like you and flip it. I'm going to stick to Florida State. I don't know. That one's hard.
All right.
Once again, not surprised if LSU wins.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. That was a very close game last year.
But I'm picking Florida State.
Yeah, I'm picking Florida State too. I'm very high on Florida State and Jordan Travis this year. I think they're really building on top of on the success they had last year. I think they got better throughout the course of last year. I mean, last year that LSU Florida State game, that was such a sloppy game.
Yeah.
That was so sloppy. And both of those teams got significantly better
Right.
at the end of the year than they were in that game. I've just got Florida State. I think they're bringing back a lot of players that are really good. They're bringing in a really good transfer class. So I got Florida State.
All right. Yep. You have any other games?
No, we're
All right.
not doing Clemson and Duke because that is on Monday night, and we record on Mondays. So
Gotcha.
that's it.
All right.
Those are our picks.
No problem. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time. College football is back.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.